The pro-life cause has just hundreds of thousands of young people flooding into it these days. And many of them taking up leadership positions in the broader pro-life effort. They talk about this not being their grandfather's pro-life movement anymore, so there's a lot of changes going on. And it raises the question, what would you encourage the next generation of leadership to extend or to correct or improve? You're talking about the larger reputation or weaknesses, whether real or perceived, that need to be corrected going forward as a Christian effort.
The first one that comes to my mind, which may not be the most important one, is that in the most intense battles that I have fought, I have watched anger trump a willingness to suffer. Now, I think there's an appropriate place for anger in this. I mean, not to get angry at somebody who's killing a child is defective. However, if your dominant personal and public persona is in your face bitterness rather than a willingness to be a lowly, sacrificial sufferer over the long haul, something's askew. So that I would say to the young people, be willing to suffer. Be willing to pay a price. Be willing to sacrifice. The second thing that comes to my mind is a lot of people just got tired. I think William Bennett called it a culture of acedia, A-C-E-D-I-A, which means boredom, weariness with the cause. And I used to talk in terms of, still do when I have a chance, to talk in terms of, let's not let this newer generation be a culture of adrenaline Christians, but coronary Christians. And what I mean by that is, adrenaline comes in for just a short spurt for a moment's crisis. And when it's done, you're just... A coronary Christian is William Wilberforce, right? The heart beats all night. It beats all day. Isn't it amazing that the heart just keeps on beating? We need Christians who just keep on beating. They don't just spurt, little thing, on the campus we had a little movement.
Kind of get it off the to-do list almost.
Yeah, and so we need a generation of coronary Christians who are like the lub-dub of their own hearts on gospel issues, and this is one of them. So that's another thing I would say to them. A third thing I would say is go for roots. Don't just work up here at the level of killing is wrong. Go down, why are people doing this? Why is the sex situation the way it is so that there are many crisis pregnancies that there are? And why are churches silent? And why are politicians cowardly? And go down deep under the things that are feeding this thing and be a deeply biblical, God-centered generation so that over the long haul you're constantly attacking the roots as well as the fruits of this thing up here. I personally think abortion should be illegal. But if you pour all your energies into the legal dimension and the argumentation of why certain things are criminalized and other things are not criminalized, then you might miss some of the deeper issues of how did we get here? Yeah. So there's so many of these. And of course, we should, you know this better than I do, especially you, that this is a global thing. It's not just an American thing. And the situation right now, say in Russia, I read 70% or so of their pregnancies end in abortion, so that they are killing themselves as a culture.
Well, they're actually, they have 15 million fewer people living in Russia today than 20 years ago. So Putin, who is a strong leader, is actually trying to get abortion stopped in Russia, not for any moral reasons, but for an economic base. They see they're committing suicide, which is true. Yeah. And of course, China
maybe that would be one last thing to say with regard to the generation is be a child-loving, family-loving generation, because there is so much anti-child. They are just problems, right? They are in the way of my lifestyle. I'm going to farm them out to here and there. And as long as that mindset reigns, that children aren't precious, children aren't a blessing for the nation long term, for families, for getting old, for the whole dynamic of what it means to be human, as long as that mindset holds sway, abortion is going to be understandable. But if our generation would be, we love children, we love having them, we love caring for them, we love adopting them, that atmosphere, that culture will be anti-abortion.